Rob Pincus is our guest of Second Amendment organization and now become 3D printing hobbyist and activist. You have an event coming up, which I want to share with our listeners. It's a pretty cool premise surrounding building your own guns. Tell us about that.
That's the gunmakersmatch.com, and it's actually being put on by Guns for Everyone National, 501c3 gun rights education advocacy organization that's based here in Colorado, actually. So Guns for Everyone is an organization that's been around forever, a local organization, not a nonprofit here in Colorado. But while they're not a nonprofit, they've put over 40,000 people through no-cost CCW training here in Colorado and in a few other places around the country. So these guys have been doing a lot of great work and advocacy work for a long time. They spun up a national 501c3 to help them expand their opportunities to influence and make the gun community better and stronger and more responsible. And one of the things that I knew they wanted to do after launching in 2020 was to get into competitions. They wanted to start offering competitions for a couple different reasons. One of them, obviously, to raise awareness and get more participants in the gun sports, but also because in a lot of states, an organization needs to run nonprofit competitions in order for them to qualify as a certifier for CCW permit instructors. And there are even a handful of states where just participating in sanctioned competitions run by a national 501c3 qualifies you for your CCW permit. So they wanted to do it for some business reasons, for some gun rights reasons, for advocacy reasons, for a whole bunch of good reasons. And I also found out through my buddies at Are We Cool Yet and some of the other people in the 3D printing community, one of the frustrations that gun makers, the hobbyist gun makers have is that sometimes it's hard to find a place to go shoot your gun. You know, the ranges are worried about liability and quality control. The competitions worry about a gun staying within the rules, you know, and what division do you put them in. Some gun competitions are allowing polymer 80 and other kit builds to be used, but there's nobody that's using or allowing 3D printed guns to be used. And I was like, you know what? Friends, it's like, you know, it was like the Reese's peanut butter cup. I got these friends over here that want something cool and fun to do. I got these friends over here that want to start hosting their own competitions, but don't want to do just another Me Too version of a defensive shooting pistol or an action shooting pistol or whatever. And I'm super excited about mainstreaming gun making and making it a common thing that doesn't have this nefarious tinge of, you know, masked people only making guns that are off the books. And remember, the anti-gunners are telling people that ghost guns are only made by criminals. The only people who would want guns without serial numbers must be criminals. It has nothing to do with, for me, making a gun without a serial number. And in fact, just like I recommend, while it's legal to do a private transfer in many states, I don't suggest you meet somebody in a parking lot and sell a gun just randomly. Like, get the ID, look at their concealed carry permit, find out who you sell the gun to, or go through an FFL, not because the government tells you to, but because it's responsible. So my guns are all marked, right? Like, so for those of you, yeah, I shouldn't say all of them, but most of these frames that come off, especially if I know they're going to be usable, I put my initials on them, or I put a version number on them if it's a prototype as I go through there. Just like, you know, you would have scratched your last name into a television in case it shows up at a pawn shop if somebody robs your house, right? Same kind of an idea. So the gunmakersmatch.com idea was about mainstreaming this, and most importantly for me, getting the industry involved. So we've got Firearms Policy Coalition, Polymer 80, Brownells, Gun Owners of America, DEFCAD, Ghost Gunner, Legio, Second Amendment organization, obviously, Riptide Rails, which is a company that makes rails specifically for do-it-yourselfers and 3D printers. They make the metal rails that go into the printed frame, so you have metal on metal when you buy that factory slide. I'm sure I'm leaving a bunch of people out, but 2A3D Print, 2A3Dprint.com, they do all kinds of cool stuff out of Rhode Island. We have gotten an amazing amount of support. And again, that's what helps me push the industry into, you know, why doesn't Glock, you ever wonder, like, why doesn't Glock sell slides? Why are there companies out there making millions of dollars selling Glock configuration slides, but Glock won't sell you a slide for your kit gun or your personal build? You know, let's change that, right? Why isn't there a do-it-yourself section at SHOT Show? You know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was no tactical section at SHOT Show. You couldn't even show a switchblade at SHOT Show when I first started going 25 years ago. you couldn't show a full auto gun on the floor. Law enforcement military guns had to be hidden from the show floor at the National Shooting Sports Foundation show. So a lot has changed. I want a do-it-yourself makers section at SHOT Show 2022.
So Trevor, I'll let you make your point, and then I want to go into what I think is Rob's tactic that is genius in defense of the Second Amendment.
Well, I only want to comment on the fact that the competition will help normalize 3D printing. It will also bring about innovation as well. People want to compete and they want to win. You'll see things happen to guns that you never even thought was possible with competition. So it's imperative to the community that things like this exist. That's pretty much it. Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to say is, Rob, your methodology here of activism through motion and through culture is really genius, because if you look at what the perception, public and especially even on the left, when they go after gun rights, they say, now we don't mean your pheasant hunters, and they got the imagery of the guy with the double barrel. In fact, it's still okay to run a political commercial as a Democrat wearing your hunter orange vest and you got your double barrel shotgun broke open over your shoulder. That's still Americana. Mm-hmm. And therefore they want to ensure you, we don't mean with the regular part of an American pastime, a heritage and culture built in. So if you're creating a culture where normal people, your pastor, your member of liberal gun owners, your guy down the street, your
Girl Scouts of America.
Yeah, all of your, they're going out and being involved in this task. It's hard to say. These are all those sketchy people on 4chan who don't want to be tracked when it's people that are willing to talk about it and show and share. Weaving it into a pastime really makes it harder to pigeonhole you in as this stereotype that's attracted to the criminal element of getting around laws, so to speak.
Yeah, I appreciate you seeing it that way, because that really is exactly it. It's about mainstreaming. It's about normalizing it in the public view. Again, I know thousands, hundreds of thousands of people make their own guns. Again, Brownell's been selling parts to people to do this for 50 years. And whether they're modifying guns or making their own or whatever, and now we have so many other companies involved. And I do look forward to a time when, imagine if Smith & Wesson, and by the way, Avidity Arms may be the first one to do this. Imagine if Smith & Wesson was licensing Polymer 80 to produce a frame kit for the current generation M&P 2.0 and selling the slides and the part kits to the people that buy the frame kits from Polymer 80. Like, that's the vision I see, because I go to Polymer, the 3D printing community says, well, Polymer 80 won't sell us rails. You know, they'll only sell us the kits, and we have to pull the rails out to put into our 3D printed gun. So I go to Polymer 80, I'm like, guys, is this true? Well, not exactly. You know, we're trying to keep up with demand. We're not sure about that. I go, doesn't this sound like you guys complaining that Glock won't sell slides that will go on your kit guns? Like, it's just, and they're like, oh yeah, we didn't really think of it that way. So I'm really trying to raise some awareness here. The Gun Makers Match, by the way, has two divisions. It is the kit builds for the non-gun objects, the old 80% lowers in rifle or pistol, and 3D printed guns, rifle, pistol, and then there's a PCC or braced pistol division or competition inside of both of those divisions as well. So if you're a kit builder, get to gunmakersmatch.com. If you're a 3D printer guy, gunmakersmatch.com. If you're neither, hey, the event isn't until June 19th. There's still time to get involved, and we probably have about 20 slots left. It is limited registration.
Rob, stick with us for a minute on the Gun Shop Show. Previous episodes and more available at gunshopshow.com.